What if? What if the longest chapter of Earth's story unfolded in almost perfect silence, spanning nearly 2 billion years when our planet learned to breathe? The Proterozoic, meaning earlier life, whispers to us across deep time, carrying secrets of the first complex cells and the slow, patient construction of an oxygen-rich world that would one day cradle consciousness itself. Imagine the world beneath a pale sun, clouds drifting endlessly in thin air, the land neither familiar nor young. The rocks beneath our feet are ancient, older than dreams, older than language, etched by the slow choreography of tectonic drift and chemical reaction. In the Proterozoic, the world moved not with sudden violence, but with a patience that turns mountains to sand and oceans to stone. If we listened closely to the silence, could we hear time itself flowing through these ageless stones? The planet's surface was in constant transformation, continents gathering, breaking, wandering, slowly receding beneath the hush of ancient seas. Even now, if we reach deep enough, we find traces left by those vanished oceans, minerals formed at crushing depths, isotopes asleep in layers of shale and marble, fossil ghosts of bacteria that built whole continents out of dust and sunlight. Some say this era was defined by absence. No forests, no animals, only the soft green haze of microbial gnats skimming silent lagoons, their breath shifting the fate of the atmosphere one molecule at a time. But absence itself is a memory, a question, a hush that waits for what comes next. To drift through the Proterozoic is to sense a planet on the verge of awakening, a world forging oxygen from stone and light, preparing, quietly and with endless patience, for the great experiments to come. Here, in the breathless spaces between eons, we glimpse the possibility that even silence can change the world. And as the last shreds of ancient mist curl above lifeless shores, we might wonder if such profound transformation happened in this quiet, this calm, what else stirs, unseen beneath the patient skin of time. The banded iron formations stretch like geological sheet music across ancient cratons, each stripe a record of Earth's first tentative experiments with oxygen. We trace these rusty layers with our fingertips, reading the story of cyanobacteria that dared to poison their own atmosphere, unknowingly writing the preface to all complex life. Underneath the stillness of deep time, these layers embody more than mere rock. They whisper of a restless planet learning to breathe for the first time. Iron, once dissolved freely in the ancient oceans, began to bind with the nascent oxygen, forming bands of rust that settled slowly to the seafloor, like ancient echoes frozen in stone. These bands, alternating between dark and red, are not just patterns but a rhythm of Earth itself, a breathing pulse captured over millions of years. Imagine the oceans as vast cauldrons, where microscopic architects tirelessly labored to transform a world choked with invisible gases. Cyanobacteria, tiny and unassuming, played a symphony of photosynthesis that would alter everything, slowly filling the atmosphere with oxygen, an element both life-giving and deadly. Their silent toil in sunlit waters set off a chain reaction, oxidizing iron and changing the very chemistry of ocean and sky. This transformation was not sudden. It was a slow unfurling, like dawn's gradual light spilling over a shadowed landscape. For eons, oxygen's rise was punctuated by fits and starts, glimmers and retreats. Sometimes the bands grew thick with iron oxides, sometimes thin as the planet's breath faltered and strengthened in a cosmic dance. We see in these iron bands an ancient heartbeat, a whispered pulse of life altering the lifeless. What if these rock layers are the first echoes of a planetary memory? Could it be that Earth, through chemistry alone, records its own story, like a diary written in rust and stone? Each mineral grain is a letter, each colour a word, a message encoded across unimaginable stretches of time and space. When we look closely, we start to hear the faint hum of a world awakening, of life and environment, locked in delicate balance, and yet, as oxygen slowly filled the air, it did not simply nurture life. It turned deadly to many existing forms, sparking the first great crisis of living things. An ancient extinction whispered through these iron bands. not because oxygen was evil, but because transformation carries decay as its shadow. Entropy, the quiet artist of change, was at work, reshaping both air and organism with slow, inexorable patience. Could the banded iron formations then be seen as monuments to that delicate balance? They mark a time when life's innovation clashed with survival, when the planet was neither friend nor enemy, but an evolving landscape of possibility. Life was forced to adapt or vanish, to create new forms from the ashes of the old, or sink beneath the waves it once called home. We reach out to touch these ancient stones, their surfaces rough and cool, textured with the weight of unseen ages. They offer a connection to a world far removed from our own, yet deeply entwined with our story. What did the earth sound like then? Was there a breath, a sigh carried on the wind, or only the silent, steady fall of iron flakes gathering beneath dark waters? Maybe it is here that we find the first lesson of deep time, that silence is never empty. Silence is full of memory, full of waiting, full of the possibilities of what might come next. These stones are not inert but alive in time's slow dance, holding on to stories that refuse to be forgotten. Could the same forces that captured oxygen in iron deposits have also trapped thoughts, frozen aspirations, or moments of planetary forgetting? We move gently through these ancient rock pages, understanding that what appears lost is often only waiting beneath the surface, held in mineral breath. And so, as the rusty bands continue their eternal layering, stretching beneath our feet and beyond our sight, we find ourselves wondering about the delicate thresholds that allow life to persist amid change. Could it be that every wave of oxygen was also a wave of loss, every gain a quiet erasure? This paradox folds itself like a soft question through the Proterozoic, a whisper in stone and rust. We turn then from the rusty pages of the ocean floor to a colder, whiter chapter ahead, where Earth wrapped in ice prepares for its next profound transformation. And yet, if this much can be lost, what else might we have forgotten? And yet, as oxygen transformed the skies and stones, the Earth was poised on the edge of another great secret, the great rusting, when the atmosphere turned toxic, not by chaos, but by the slow, deliberate breath of life itself. Imagine an air so different from ours, filled with something that could both nurture and kill, a shimmering veil that cloaked the world in silent menace and unseen potential. It was in this paradox that Earth found a new rhythm, a pulse carried by oxygen's slow rise and the iron's tireless descent into rust-red sediment. We drift back beneath seas that shimmer with mineral whispers, watching as free iron, once abundant in ancient oceans, began to disappear, bonding with oxygen in a slow dance that stained the bottom of the world. Like a painter's brush barely touching the canvas, these layers formed over millions of years, outlining the slow yet unstoppable change in our planet's temperament. The process was gentle in one sense, yet unstoppable in another, a delicate balance between creation and decay, birth and dissolution. Could it be that this great rusting was not a disaster but a necessary sacrifice? For as oxygen filled the atmosphere, it reshaped the possibilities of life, putting new pressures on the old, demanding adaptation in forms we hardly recognize. The very element that enables our breath once threatened to wipe away countless creatures that thrived in its absence. What did it mean to live in such a world, where survival was a test of endurance against the very air? This slow poisoning of the atmosphere transformed Earth's chemistry in ways we are only beginning to understand. Ancient oceans, once rich with dissolved iron, turned clear as iron sank and settled in rhythmic bands, forming the foundations of geological memory. These bands record not just chemical reactions, but epochs of transition, moments caught between chaos and order, between stasis and change. They tell of a world learning the rules of transformation, of balance amid volatility. And yet, beneath the mineral layers, life did not vanish. It multiplied its possibilities, learning new forms of resilience and cooperation. Could the rise of oxygen have ignited a spark of complexity, nudging simple cells toward the intricate choreography of eukaryotic life? Was this silent atmospheric revolution the prelude to cellular partnerships that built the first complex organisms? What stories lie hidden here, in the thin margins where chemistry and biology entangle. Entropy, that quiet artist of decay, was also the architect of innovation, shaping the world in waves both destructive and creative. The Great Rusting was a testament to this duality, a slow erasure and a bold rewriting of the planet's story. In the glint of rusted bands, we see not only loss but the promise of new beginnings, the fragile hope of life pressing on through invisible struggles. We reach toward these ancient deposits, stones that carry the weight of forgotten epochs, feeling the texture of a past world where air changed from poison to breath, where the planet's lungs began to fill and empty with steady purpose. Could the iron in these rocks hold memories, like pages in a diary inked by time itself? Every shift in mineral balance, every trace of decay, whispers stories of adaptation, survival, and the passage of countless generations turned to dust. What if time itself felt different then, measured not by human heartbeats or clocks, but by rhythms of rust and sediment, by the slow layering of iron and oxygen in a dance older than thought? Could Earth's memory extend beyond fossils and rocks, into the very chemistry that shaped life's emergence? We live in the aftermath of these silent epochs, carrying within us the legacy of change born in rust and patience. Maybe the Great Rusting teaches us to listen differently, to the slow unfolding of transformation, to the spaces between existence and extinction, not because change is violent, but because it is inevitable, measured in long breaths and deeper silences. Here, in the rusted quiet of deep time, we find a reflection of ourselves, fragile, enduring, caught between moments of loss and the promise of renewal. And so, as the iron-rich layers continue to lie beneath our feet, silent and patient, we wonder about the consequences of such profound change. We move then from the rusty echoes of this ancient transformation toward a world locked in ice, where Earth's silence deepened and its mysteries grew colder. And yet, if rust can hold memory, what secrets might the ice carry in its frozen grip? And yet, if rust can hold memory, what secrets might the ice carry in its frozen grip? Imagine Earth wrapped in its coldest silence, a world transformed into a snowball, the poles reaching out to embrace the tropics, and a vast frozen sheet where oceans once sang life's first songs. The Proterozoic's icy breath holds us in quiet awe, a long epoch where warmth and light were muffled beneath a crystalline veil so thick it swallowed sound and colour alike. It is a frozen world, not barren but full of hidden life's persistence, whispered beneath ice 1,000 meters deep. Could time itself have slowed, folded upon itself beneath that cold silence? Days shortened as Earth spun faster beneath a colder sun, yet the vast ice sheets expanded like slow shadows across the planet's surface, erasing landscapes, burying histories, even softening the relentless tick of geological clocks. Here in this frozen deep, the planet erased and rewrote itself in patterns fragile enough to be almost invisible to us now. What might lie beneath those ancient preserved layers? Microbial secrets, chemical tales of resilience, footprints of life brushing the glassy underside of ice. We drift through oceans now solidified, visualizing currents locked in place, tides muted, and the weight of frozen waters pressing down on the crust. Plates crept slowly beneath, grinding quietly, subducting ice-laden crust into the warm mantle below, recycling frozen chapters back into fire. This slow recycling was a whispered conversation between cold and heat, silence and motion, painting a portrait of a world balanced on a knife's edge between permanence and change. Is it possible that these snowball Earth events were not only cataclysms but also fertile interludes? Could the ice have cradled life in its preserved stillness, protecting the seeds of future blooms in its glacial arms? Beneath the ice's surface, hidden oceans may have pulsed with chemical gradients, pockets of warmth from Earth's core, nurturing slow but unyielding microbial tapestries. This was a world where life learned to endure not just in light and warmth but in shadow, pressure and cold, a kind of resilience written into the fabric of being. And yet the ice pressed ever deeper. a slow artist carving silence from sound, a sculptor shaping absence where once life's chorus had risen. The fossil record grows sparse here, a vanishing act across millions of years. What have we lost, buried beneath the snow and silence? Could entire ecologies have vanished, their stories erased almost completely by the cold's patient hand, or could they be waiting still, locked away like dreams in the frozen vault? Entropy dances invisibly here too, not in destruction but in stillness, a world in stasis, preserving and erasing all at once, time wrapped in ice, halting more than movement, perhaps even softening memory itself. What is forgotten, and what endures when the world turns cold? Are these ice ages a planetary meditation on loss, a sleeping chrysalis from which a new complexity would emerge? The Proterozoic snowball leaves us with these quiet mysteries, questions held deep in the ice's heart. What if life's most profound endurance is silence? What if the slow drift beneath glaciers is a kind of memory we have yet to decode? Could the frozen stillness itself shape evolution in ways we scarcely imagine, where time is measured not in moments but in glacial pulses? And as the snowball began to crack and thaw, warmth seeped back across continents and oceans, stirring the dormant, the small, the hidden. Life pressed gently against the ice's retreat, tentative and slow, like whispers returning after a long silence. What stories awakened then? What ancient designs were rewritten in water and heat? And might these frozen epochs still echo within the cycles of life today, inscribed in genes, in climate, in the very patterns of being? We move, with slow breath, from the ice's deep quiet into the invisible architecture of the first complex cells, where cooperation replaced conflict and the tangled dance of life took its next intricate step. And yet, if snow can bury time, what else might it conceal beneath its silent veil? And yet, if snow can bury time, what else might it conceal beneath its silent veil? Beneath the frozen stillness of the late Proterozoic, the first whispers of complexity stirred. Small and unseen at first, cells began to reshape themselves not as solitary wanderers but as intricate communities, cooperating, sharing, weaving a symphony of life inside microscopic boundaries. This was the birth of the eukaryotic cell, a turning point where ancient simplicity gave way to elaborate architecture, like a delicate cathedral forming in the silence of gypsum. Imagine the cell as a hidden city, each organelle a bustling district, encased within membrane walls both protective and porous. Mitochondria pulse like engines, converting energy with ancient fermentation wisdom, while the nucleus guards genetic secrets, the written scripts of life's lineage. This quiet revolution was not sudden. Time measured here is slow, deep, measured in generations layered upon generations, a slow dance of molecular cooperation that builds the foundations of all complex life. What if these cells learn to live together not by force but by invitation? Could one ancient bacteria have enveloped another, not to consume but to partner, a silent pact that blurred the lines between self and other? This symbiosis, a cosmic compromise, perhaps seeded all the folds of anatomy and function that would later give rise to creatures both simple and sublime. We imagine oceans rich with chemical conversations where early eukaryotes evolved amid shifting tides of oxygen and nutrient pulses. These cells, fragile and resilient, danced on the edge of extinction over and over, their existence a gamble played against entropy's cold hand. The deep time they inhabited was a world without hurry, where every mutation, every division was a heartbeat in a much longer rhythm. Could it be that the very architecture of these cells carries the echoes of eons, holding a memory of survival encoded in membrane folds and protein threads? Their complexity whispers of possibilities beyond our waking imagination, reminding us that life's great innovations are often quiet, hidden beneath layers of change. In these tiny worlds, boundaries blur between individuality and unity, suggesting that identity itself is a fluid dance, cooperation and competition intertwined in endless variation. Is it possible that the first complex cells taught Earth a lesson in connectedness, a precursor to the intricate webs of ecosystems to come? Their story is both a genesis and a mystery, a silent fold in the fabric of deep time that leads onward, outward. And yet these cells existed in a volatile world, their fragile partnerships threatened by swings in oxygen, shifts in chemistry, the rumblings of continental movements beneath silent seas. Each environmental whisper, each geological tremble, echoed through these living chambers, shaping evolution's slow crescendo. Could the emergence of the eukaryotic cell be Earth's own reflection on identity and change, a symbol of balance between autonomy and interdependence? Life, learning to forge new shapes out of ancient templates, crafting complexity from simplicity, all beneath the quiet gaze of a distant sun. As we peer deeper into these microscopic cathedrals, we begin to sense a pattern larger than biology, a profound rhythm of emergence, decay and renewal. The delicate internal worlds of these cells echo across scales, connecting chemistry to organism, moment to eternity. Could we imagine our own being as a continuation of these ancient dances, a symphony begun billions of years ago in waters long vanished, beneath skies that no longer exist? Might our breath, our sense of self, be shaped by these deep and quiet collaborations, the slow unfolding of molecular memory? In this light, the eukaryotic cell is not merely a biological unit, but a monument to patience, cooperation, and endurance, a tender testament to life's capacity for innovation amid quiet persistence. We move then from these invisible cities, these ancient symphonies of cell and molecule, toward the towering structures of stromatolites, where life began to build, layer by layer, the first complex communities visible to the naked eye. And yet, if cells can create such intricate worlds inside themselves, what worlds lie waiting to be discovered in the stones and shadows around time, unfolded here as a patient artisan, each generation folding quietly into the next, crafting elaborate internal geographies of energy, structure, and information. This invisible city was alive with molecular traffic pathways for nutrients, conveyor belts of enzymes, archives of genetic code, all humming in delicate balance. Here was the cradle for complexity, the silent forge that would shape life into forms both unimaginable and intimate. Imagine the fragile membranes flexing gently in twilight waters, the dance of proteins threading through lipid landscapes, the first echoes of cellular memory encoded in lipid bilayers and nuclear folds. The story of these cells challenges our notions of identity, because life did not evolve as isolated monads, but as networks of cooperation and exchange. Could it be that individuality itself is an illusion, a fleeting impression in the ongoing dance of molecular symbiosis? What if the earliest cells taught Earth the art of togetherness, that survival and growth rested not just on competition, but on intimate partnerships? In the cradle of ancient seas, these early complex cells endured cosmic and earthly storms, radiation bursts, shifts in ocean chemistry, geological upheaval, yet persisted through millions of years of quiet struggle and eventual triumph. Each cell bore the mark of this endurance in its complex inner design and mysterious origins. It is here, in these secret chambers, that the great tapestry of life began weaving new threads, layering depth onto the ancient. And yet, if cells can create such intricate worlds inside themselves, what worlds lie waiting to be discovered in the stones and shadows around us? Imagine shallow seas of the Proterozoic, where cyanobacteria built vast underwater cities, stromatolites, layer upon layer, a testament to persistence and cooperation. They are the oldest skyscrapers the Earth has ever known, rising slowly through millennia, the first visible signs of life's architectural ambition, etched in stone and slow rhythm. These stromatolites are not merely fossils, but echoes of a living city, where countless microorganisms gathered, shaped water, sediment, and light into structures that changed the chemistry of oceans themselves. Picture billions of tiny architects, their slimy bodies weaving layers of sediment and calcium carbonate, creating habitats that filtered sunlight and oxygenated their surroundings in a persistent, patient breath. Could it be that such living communities were Earth's first experiments in ecosystem engineering? These microbial metropolises shaped their environment deeply, producing oxygen that transformed seas and skies, setting the stage for the rise of complex life forms. The stromatolites stand as silent witnesses to the delicate balance between life and environment, survival and transformation. The thick layers they built are records of long-lasting cycles, tides, seasons, chemical flows, imprinted in stone like a diary of Earth's oldest rhythms. We peer into their layered walls and sense the quiet dialogue between biology and geology, a conversation that weaves past and present into a living continuum. Fossilized microbial mats whisper of days and nights, warm tides and cool currents, the steady pulse of a world learning how to sustain itself. And yet, stromatolites have dwindled in number with time, overshadowed by the rise of grazing creatures that changed the rules of survival. These ancient cities now appear mostly as relics, their grand architecture folded into the folds of distant continents, their stories fragile and often overlooked. What does the decline of stromatolites tell us about evolution, about the delicate transitions between one order of life and another? Could the fall of these microbial metropolises symbolize a profound shift in Earth's story, where construction gave way to movement, where stillness morphed into dynamic ecosystems, and where simple forms made room for new complexity? These transitions are neither loss nor gain, but transformations, fluid, ongoing, like the tide forever reshaping the shore. We reach out to touch these ancient stones, feeling the smooth and rough textures of layered time, sensing the echo of slow growth and quiet decay. These rocks are more than remnants. They are living archives, repositories of the earliest experiments in life's social architecture, where cooperation was etched in calcium and sediment. What if these microbial cities still hold secrets? A chemical memory preserved in their mineral walls, traces of ancient atmospheres and the first breaths of oxygen. Could they teach us about resilience, adaptation, and the ways life transforms its environment in endless cycles? Stromatolites remind us that life's story is written not only in grand gestures but in the slow, patient layering of time and matter. And as we leave these ancient cities in the stone, we prepare to journey deeper into the molecular timekeepers within cells themselves, into the silent machinery of life's first complex blueprints. And yet, if stones can remember such histories, what else might be hiding in the smallest fragments of Earth's deep past? In these ancient formations, layers upon layers of microbial life intertwined with mineral deposits, creating a fragile mosaic that recorded the passage of eons. The mingling of organic and inorganic brings to mind stories of collaboration beyond simple survival, whispers of a planet where life shapes and is shaped, where the boundary between living and non-living blurs in slow, deliberate gestures. Could it be that stromatolites are not only monuments to the past, but living symbols of Earth's enduring capacity for renewal? Even as external forces chipped away at their dominance, be they grazing creatures or shifting oceans, the stromatolites held tight to their rhythm. Even as external forces chipped away at their dominance, be they grazing creatures or shifting oceans, the stromatolites held tight to their rhythm, a pulse persistent beneath the shifting currents of deep time. Beneath the stone's rough surface, a hidden world thrives, not visible to the eye but alive in molecular memory. The ribosomes, mitochondria, and intricate cellular machinery that hums with the wisdom of Proterozoic origins. This ancient molecular machinery, preserved in the cores of living cells, echoes stories far older than any fossil record, a biochemical legacy written in the language of genes and proteins. Imagine these molecular sentinels as the silent archivists of life, recording the slow passage of epochs in strands of DNA, mechanisms of repair, and the elegant dance of metabolic pathways. These inner workings tell of a time when cells first learned to harness energy more effectively, to protect themselves from damage, and to replicate not as mere copies, but as evolved entities adapting through quiet resilience. The very mitochondria that power our breath carry the whisper of an ancient symbiosis when one cell enveloped another, creating a partnership that would fuel complex life. Could it be that every breath we take is connected to these microscopic ancestors, that the chain of life flows through these tiny organelles inherited across billions of years. The isotopic trails left in the rocks tell part of this tale, signatures of metabolic processes that changed Earth's atmosphere and oceans, enabling the flourishing of increasingly complex organisms. These biochemical markers are like postcards from a vanished world, sent across deep time, inviting us to listen and learn. And yet these molecular relics remind us that life is a fragile balance against entropy, a continuous struggle to maintain order amidst decay. Each cell's survival depends on delicate repair systems and energy harnessing, a quiet battle at the molecular level echoing the vast geological transformations enveloping the planet. This intimate dance between biology and entropy is both a paradox and a promise, revealing the resilience born not from strength alone, but from persistence and adaptability. What if these molecular memories are not only relics of the past, but active participants shaping life's future? Could the ancient machinery within cells influence evolution's path, guiding the emergence of novelty and complexity from deep time's slow currents? There is poetry in imagining life's blueprint as a living manuscript, edited and rewritten with each generation, yet preserving the ghostly footprints of ancient beginnings. We reach deep within ourselves into the core of biological being and find this inherited memory humming quietly as a reminder of continuity and change. These molecular archives bridge the vast chasms of time between the Proterozoic and now, connecting us not only to the fossilized past but to the very chemistry that makes existence possible. It is a silent narrative, a gentle folding of yesterday into tomorrow, carried in every breath and cell. And so, as we sit with these quiet molecular legacies, humming softly in the background of life's orchestra, we prepare to journey next into the restless dance of continents, where the planet's skin shifts and sighs, crafting new stories in stone and motion. And yet, if this deep memory shapes our being, what stories might the Earth itself still hold in its wandering crust? Each ribosome, a tiny factory, produces the proteins that build and maintain living structures, tirelessly working in the quiet recesses of cells. Mitochondria, once free-living bacteria, now symbiotic powerhouses, convert energy with a grace perfected over billions of years. This partnership embodies transformation, life taking its own history deep into the heart of its being. Consider the folds of mitochondrial membranes. The loops of genetic code are imprinted with eons of survival strategies, a dance between decay and renewal written in molecular language. Could it be that life, in its most intimate forms, organizes itself like a microcosm of planetary processes, balancing energy, fighting entropy, conserving order against chaos? These ancient molecular networks may have set the stage for ecosystems yet unimaginable, their persistent hum echoing in every breath you take. The isotopic markers in ancient sedimentary rocks tell a story intertwined with these molecular secrets, traces of metabolic breakthroughs that shifted Earth's climate and atmospheric composition. The delicate isotopic ratios are fingerprints of life's evolving chemistry, silently chronicling transitions invisible to the naked eye, yet profound in their implications. The delicate isotopic ratios are fingerprints of life's evolving chemistry, silently chronicling transitions invisible to the naked eye, yet profound in their implications. Across vast expanses of deep time, continents drifted in a slow, relentless dance, their shapes shifting like slow-moving tides against the dark canvas of the ancient Earth. These supercontinents, Columbia, Rodinia, gathered and unraveled in rhythms so gradual we barely sense their passage, yet their movements sculpted the very stage upon which life's drama unfolded. Imagine the landmasses as slow dancers drawing near, embracing, then parting, a choreography spanning hundreds of millions of years, driven by the restless energy of Earth's molten core. Mountains rose and fell as tectonic plates collided, water reshaped the Earth in cyclical tides, and the atmosphere danced in harmony with the shifting continents. Each movement carved river valleys, deepened ocean basins, and forged mineral veins that would hold the silent stories of Earth's past. Could it be that these continental wanderings are more than geology, more than physical movements? Are they memories encoded in stone, a slow-moving pulse of the planet itself, writing passages of history in the folds and fractures of rock? As continents rifted and joined, the Earth's surface breathed, slow, deep breaths measured in geological pulse. Beneath the crust, subduction zones swallowed oceanic plates, recycling ancient sediments back into fiery depths. This slow subduction is a vital player in the Earth's entropy balance, a silent agent that erases and renews, folding the ancient while crafting the new. Isn't it remarkable that destruction and creation are so deeply entwined in Earth's life story? In the shadowed folds of these shifting continents, climates changed, seas rose and fell, and habitats stretched and contracted. Life in the Proterozoic found itself challenged and shaped by this restless stage, each tectonic rearrangement a prophecy of ecosystems to come. Could it be that the very movement of land masses dictated the rhythms of life, carving pathways for evolution and extinction alike? The slow dance of supercontinents also controlled the cycling of carbon and nutrients, the silent breath of chemical exchanges between ocean, air, and earth. These cycles tipped the balance of greenhouse gases, modulating climate in ways still mysterious to us. Is it possible that the geologic flux of continents influenced the birth of oxygen-rich atmospheres, setting the tempo for complex life's emergence? We stand, if only in thought, upon this restless stage, our home and ancient witness, feeling the tremors beneath us, the shifting layers of stone and memory. The continents beneath our feet are not simply land but vast archives of time, their silent movements continuing to weave the fabric of Earth's story. As we trace this dance of land and sea, we begin to see an unfolding story not solely of biology, but of the planet itself as a living, breathing entity, its skin tugged and molded in slow, deliberate rhythms. And yet, if the Earth shapes life, how deeply might life in return shape the Earth? The story continues in the quiet folds of mineral and memory. This dance of continents is more than slow movement. It is the pulse of the planet's skin, a heartbeat inscribed in stone and fracture. As plates collided, they birthed mountain ranges that pierced ancient skies, their slow ascent recording the toil of deep time. Could these mountains be silent witnesses, standing guard over the slow evolution of life beneath their shadow? The formation and breakup of supercontinents also triggered cycles of erosion and sedimentation, sculpting new habitats and altering the chemistry of oceans and atmosphere. Rivers carved their way across these shifting lands, carrying nutrients that fed burgeoning microbial mats and early life forms. Could the flow of these ancient rivers be seen as veins pulsing life through the Earth's ever-changing body? With each continental gathering and breakup, oceans shifted, climates oscillated, and ecosystems were rewritten. Ice sheets waxed and waned along the edges of supercontinents, sometimes even encasing the planet in vast blankets of ice, as we glimpsed earlier. These climatic pulses, controlled in part by tectonic rhythms, challenged life to adapt, survive, and innovate. What if the movement of Earth's crust acted as a slow conveyor belt for life's evolution, pushing species into new niches and bottlenecks, fostering extinction, but also opportunity? The restless crust may have been the hidden conductor of life's symphony, guiding crescendos and silences in a slow geological orchestration. Beneath these vast processes, the cycling of carbon, sulfur, nitrogen, and other elements flowed through the atmosphere and oceans, influenced heavily by continental configurations. These cycles were the chemistry of life's breath and death, forging the conditions that allowed complexity to flourish. Maybe erosion is. These cycles were the chemistry of life's breath and death, forging the conditions that allowed complexity to flourish. In ancient limestone caves and blackened shales, carbon isotopes whisper stories of Proterozoic life, subtle shifts in ratios that trace the rise and fall of marine productivity, the ebb and flow of biospheres unseen. It's a chemical echo, a faint pulse from ages long gone, recorded in the mineral fabric of the earth, where life's invisible hand once shaped the chemistry of the seas. Imagine the ocean as a living ledger, each molecule of carbon passing through cycles of uptake and release, fixation and decay, carrying within it the imprint of countless life forms. These isotopic markers, barely perceptible even with today's sophisticated instruments, reveal ecological theaters where primitive organisms thrived, died, and transformed their environments. Could it be that these molecules, traced in ancient rock, are the first fingerprints of Earth's living history, a record more subtle and profound than any fossilized bone or leaf? As we trace this carbon through time, we glimpse the slow dance of productivity and decay, a balance of birth and loss mapped in the shifting ratios of isotopes. This dance is the pulse of Earth's biosphere, a rhythmic beat invisible but all-encompassing, embodying both life's generosity and entropy's shadow. Could it be that the carbon cycle itself acts as a planetary memory system, capturing the rise and fall of ecosystems, the unseen drama of extinction and renewal? What if every isotopic shift marks a forgotten bloom or a silent collapse, a wave of life pressing against the limits of existence? In these chemical stories written in stone, we find not mere data but a meditation on memory itself, how a planet remembers its life, folds loss and gain into a continuous narrative of becoming. The carbon locked in these ancient rocks is a silent witness to eons of metabolic rhythms, cycles continuing today in the breath of every living thing. And yet, this memory is fragile. Entropy wields its quiet power, erasing as much as recording, smoothing sharp moments into indistinct whispers. We ask, what fades completely from this archive? What silences have been lost to deep time, and what fragments endure as echoes in stone? As we hold these ancient isotopic stories in mind, we are reminded that life's history is as much about absence as presence, as much about disappearance as emergence. And as the dance of carbon continues beneath our feet, beneath the layers of sediment and stone, we prepare to move into the rusty horizons of a changing atmosphere, the red beds that are Earth's first painted landscapes. And yet, if such profound histories are held in invisible isotopes, what else might the painted stones reveal? These carbon cycles remind us that life is deeply intertwined with the very elements of the planet, the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the rock beneath us. Each molecule traces a journey of transformation, from carbon dioxide in the atmosphere to the building blocks of life and back again in endless repetition. In the ancient oceans, these cycles controlled the growth of cyanobacteria and microbial mats, the unseen architects of life's first oxygen breath. Consider the subtle shifts in isotopic ratios as the planetary conversation between biology and geology, where life leaves its mark in the chemical fabric of the Earth. Could the patterns of carbon reveal more than just ecological change, but also the rhythms of time itself, the slow unfolding of life and death across epochs? And yet, carbon's story is one of both creation and erasure, as the same cycles that record life's history also carry the power to erase it. Decay and sedimentation smooth over sharp moments, turning vibrant blooms into silent strata. What does this mean for our understanding of deep time? Could we ever truly know what has been lost, or hear the full chorus of ancient ecosystems? In these questions lies a meditation on memory and forgetting, on presence and absence woven into the very bones of the Earth. The isotopes in these rocks are silent storytellers, whispering of resilience, transformation, and the fragile persistence of life in a changing world. Whispering of resilience, transformation, and the fragile persistence of life in a changing world. The rocks beneath our feet bear another profound signature, the red beds and rust horizons. Across continents, layers of oxidized iron paint the landscape in hues of deep crimson and burnt ochre, telling stories of Earth's first oxygen-rich atmospheres breathed into existence by the tireless toil of microbial life. This rust-colored canvas is not merely decoration but the imprint of a planet forever changed, where iron once dissolved in ancient oceans, oxidized and settled as sediment, staining surfaces with the colors of transformation. These red beds are chapters in a slow-moving epic, each layer capturing a moment when life and chemistry danced in delicate balance, when the air itself shifted from invisible gas to a vibrant force sculpting land and sea alike. Imagine standing on these ancient horizons, feeling the weight of endless time pressing down, the rough texture of iron-etched stone beneath your hands. We see in these colors not only decay but a kind of earthly memory, the forgotten breath of a world learning to sustain complex life. Could these red layers be read like a diary, each shade and band a word in the Earth's autobiography? Could they reveal variations in ancient air pressure, the rhythms of oxygen's rise and fall, or even the footprints of the earliest extinctions caused by a changing atmosphere? And yet, there is quiet poetry in this rust, a metaphor for decay and renewal woven into the planet's very skin, not because the iron-stained worlds appear broken, but because they bear witness to the endless cycles of change, the slow erosion beneath which life persists and transforms. These horizons mark a threshold, the passage from a world dominated by simple microbes to one poised on the edge of visible complexity. They invite us to ponder the impermanence of stability, the fragility of skies, and the abiding power of transformation. As we trace the deep reds of ancient horizons, the layers beneath our fingers, we prepare to move from the earthly pigments to more delicate yet profound chemical messengers, the phosphorus atoms that link geology to memory and the very blueprint of life. And yet, if rusted stone holds such rich testimony, what might the smallest of molecules reveal in their silent durability? Across the ancient world, these red beds formed slowly, layer upon layer, as oxygen began to accumulate in the atmosphere. This was not a rapid event, but a patient transformation, a breath held and released over millions of years. In this slow awakening, iron oxidized, rusting across sediments, painting hills and plains with the hues of change. Could the red beds be seen as geological echoes of the great oxidation event, the moment when Earth's skies first began to shimmer with free oxygen? This new atmosphere, born of microscopic brilliance, was both creative and destructive, setting the stage for new forms of life while closing chapters on others. The rust-red horizons mark this profound shift, a threshold between worlds. These iron-rich layers are also reminders of entropy's inevitable march, where minerals decay and transform, washed by wind and rain, ground into dust, then reassembled in new forms. The red beds tell us that decay is part of life's story, that endings weave into beginnings with fluid grace. One could imagine standing on a rust-colored plain, gazing at the horizon, feeling the slow pulse of time in the warmth of slow oxidation. These stones carry the weight of ancient atmospheres, invisible histories encoded in their colors. What if these red beds are more than just rocks, but storytellers holding ancient chemistry in their pigments? Could they speak to us of atmospheric cycles, climate shifts, and the origins of extinction? And yet, they also offer hope, a testament to Earth's resilience and the constancy of change. And yet, they also offer hope, a testament to Earth's resilience and the constancy of change. As the Proterozoic neared its close, the oceans began to stir with the first large, complex organisms, creatures unlike any that had come before. The Ediacaran biota emerged from the depths, soft-bodied and strange, their forms eerily alien, their existence a whispered promise of life's visible awakening. These creatures left faint impressions in ancient mud, the oldest footprints of multicellular life, dancing lightly on the boundary between mystery and visible history. They were not yet animals as we know them, but hints of a coming revolution, an experiment in size and shape, texture and movement, the earliest attempts at complexity made tangible. Imagine these Ediacaran beings drifting slowly in twilight seas, their bodies responding to currents and light, delicate and translucent but undeniably alive. What did their world sound like, or did silence reign, broken only by the faint rustle of their movement against sediment? They were pioneers in a world still dominated by microorganisms, pushing the limits of what life could be. Could it be that these strange creatures represent a deep memory of life's experimentation, a faint echo of earlier forms lost to time and decay? What if the shapes we see, fossilized fronds, discs, quilted cushions, are not final but fluid, part of a broader tapestry of life's unknown forms? The Ediacaran biota challenges our perceptions of life's story, blurring the line between biological reality and the poetry of forms emerging in deep time. Their soft fossils lie like whispered echoes, hints of a world still largely veiled in mystery, a silence before the Cambrian explosion that would transform the shape of life forever. What if these early organisms were not only pioneers, but also fragile bridges, transitional forms caught between simpler microbial worlds and the complex ecosystems yet to come? Their existence suggests that complexity is less a sudden burst than a slow unfolding, a patient build-up of structural possibility beneath the surface of deep-sea sediments. And yet the Ediacaran stage was fleeting, a moment of delicate balance soon disturbed, changing ocean chemistry, climate shifts, and new predation pressures pressed against these early forms, transforming the rules of survival and extinction. Could these early communities have held wisdom now lost, secrets of resilience and adaptation that echo faintly in today's genetic memory? Are we in a way descendants of these soft-bodied shadows, inheritors of a legacy defined by both fragility and bold emergence? The Ediacaran world invites us to contemplate the nature of beginning itself, not as a clear starting point, but as a continuum marked by experiments, failures, and fragile successes, all layered across vast stretches of time. As we leave the gentle forms of these ancient pioneers behind, we prepare to explore the mysterious revolution of sexual reproduction, a biological innovation that would rewrite the rules of life, accelerating evolution's slow march. And yet, if life could take such delicate tentative steps here, what might the genetic dance of sex reveal about the unfolding of identity and inheritance across deep time? In those silent, shadowed seas, life took its first visible steps, a slow-motion choreography that would lead to the dazzling explosion of diversity to come. These organisms, delicate and strange, played out their lives in a world still uncertain, where survival was less about speed or force and more about persistence, presence, and the subtle shaping of ecosystems. The ocean floor was their stage, soft sediments their canvas, and each movement a trace left in the waking memory of the planet. Could the quilted fronds and lobed cushions of the Ediacaranes be early hints of sensory worlds, rudimentary perceptions of environment and self? If so, what might those perceptions have felt like? A flicker of response to currents, a gentle sway toward light, a whispered communication between soft-bodied neighbors. These were forms built on the edge of possibility, born from long experiments in cellular cooperation and complexity. They remind us that innovation in life is often quiet, slow, and fragile, not the dramatic bursts of change we imagine, but gentle pulses of emergence unfolding beneath the surface. And though the Ediacaran world ended, perhaps abruptly, it left behind questions more than answers, questions about continuity, about the nature of evolution, about the invisible threads linking all life through time. What if the transition to visible multicellularity was less a leap and more a long bridge, a continuum marked by failure and success, presence and absence? We carry these ancient echoes in our own biology. The genes, the cellular machinery remind us of a time when life began to form shapes, to leave impressions upon the earth, and to experiment with the endless possibilities of form and function. With this understanding, we move toward another profound shift, the advent of sexual reproduction, a revolution invisible in the fossil record, yet inscribed deeply within the chemistry of life. This innovation would give rise to genetic mixing, accelerating evolution and complexity in ways that forever altered life's narrative. And yet, if reproduction could change so slowly, what does that say about the nature of time, memory, and identity in the vast theatre of... And yet, if reproduction could change so slowly, what does that say about the nature of time, memory, and identity in the vast theatre of deep history? The Proterozoic knew the beginnings of a revolution. They were the first flickers of sexual reproduction, the quiet mixing of genetic material that would unlock life's potential for complexity. Unlike simple copying, sex introduced new rhythms, a dance of genes exchanged, reshuffled and woven anew, a slow but profound mechanism that accelerated evolution from a gentle drift into a rushing river of innovation. Imagine ancient cells engaging in this delicate dance, intertwining genetic material like whispered secrets passed beneath the sea. This was not a sudden invention, but a gradual unfolding, part cooperation, part chance, a biological embrace that redefined individuality and legacy. The molecular choreography of sex blurred boundaries, challenging how life perceived itself and its future. Could it be that this mechanism of mixing genes was the planet's way of remembering and experimenting simultaneously? Every shuffle and note in life's ongoing symphony, a layering of memory and novelty that shaped lineages across eons. This was evolution's soft revolution, a patient architect of diversity building the bridges to complexity. We sense that the ripple effects of this quiet revolution stretched far beyond cells to the shaping of ecosystems, behaviors, identities, and the very fabric of life. Sex introduced variation, resilience, and unpredictability, setting a new rhythm for survival and adaptation, a rhythm that beats in the marrow of every living being today. And yet, this innovation was fragile, emerging in a world full of deep time's uncertainties. The chemical and environmental whispers carried by Proterozoic seas determined the survival of these earliest sexual pioneers. Their legacy is etched invisibly into our genomes, a molecular memory carried like a quiet song through the long, unfolding story of life. Could the emergence of sexual reproduction be seen as life's first lesson in identity, as fluid, ever-changing, yet continuous, a narrative told not by static replication but dynamic renewal? Is it possible that this genetic dance introduced the first true notion of biological selfhood, a balance of continuity and difference that defines life's meaning? In the vast expanse of time, sexual reproduction opened pathways to innovation, allowing life to sculpt forms and functions with newfound intricacy. We, in turn, bear the imprint of this ancient dance, our very existence a testament to the echoes of Proterozoic collaboration. This early tentative dance of sex brought an unprecedented fluidity to life, where identity became a matter of balance between sameness and change, inheritance and novelty. Cells learned not only to replicate, but to recombine, to share and innovate in microscopic embraces. Could it be that this mechanism brought with it a new kind of memory, not static and preserved, but dynamic and evolving, a living archive rewritten with each generation? The emergence of sex shifted evolutionary time, introducing variability that could be both subtle and explosive, a slow river sometimes swelling into floodwaters that reshape landscapes. This biological innovation likely spread in ways as delicate as the earliest cells themselves, carried by chance encounters and environmental whispers. It marked the beginning of life's deeper complexity, setting in motion genetic combinations that would one day give rise to vast, intricate ecosystems. Yet the ancient oceans held both possibility and peril. Atmospheric changes, climate variability, and geological shifts tested these early sexual pioneers, making survival a delicate negotiation between biology and environment. Could these early innovations be lost and found again, carried in molecular shadows through subsequent ages? The story of sexual reproduction is thus not only a tale of genes, but a meditation on existence itself, on how life balances continuity with change, memory with reinvention. Our very bodies carry traces of this ancient dance, a testament to the intertwined nature of time and identity in biology. As we dwell in this genetic pulse, we ready ourselves to step closer still into the first traces of intention, the earliest signs that life moved not just by chance, but by choice, where traces in sediment hint at behaviors waiting to be understood. And yet, if sex could open new pathways in life's code, what stories might the earliest movements in stone reveal about consciousness yet to come? And yet, if sex could open new pathways in life's code, what stories might the earliest movements in stone reveal about consciousness yet to come? The Proterozoic was marked by a curious pause, a time some call the boring billion, when life seemed to rest in the slow shadow between innovation and stasis. For nearly 1 billion years, oxygen levels stabilized, ecosystems matured quietly, and evolutionary storms quieted into a calm breeze. But this calm was deceptive. Beneath the surface of geological tranquility, life was knit ever more tightly into the fabric of Earth's systems. Complexity was brewing in silent ways, encoded not in sudden bursts but in patient accumulation. Could this long quiet be the slow drumbeat of preparation, the deep pulse before the Cambrian symphony? Imagine a world where the visible changed little but the invisible flourished, genetic codes rewritten, cells experimenting within themselves and with each other, ecosystems tightening their webs in unseen ways. This was an era dominated by microbial kingdoms, where life's richness was hidden in microscopic worlds. What if the boring billion is a misnomer, a label that veils deep transformation instead of stasis? Could an unseen evolution be unfolding, as life refined cooperation, nutrient cycles, and energy flow beneath the calm surface? Entropy's quiet hand was shaping these processes, balancing decay and renewal with a gentle inevitability. In this balance, life learned to maintain itself amid environmental constraints, laying foundations that would carry the weight of future biological explosions. The fossil record is sparse, but traces remain. Chemical clues, isotopic signals, subtle shifts in ocean chemistry, all whispering the story of a world preparing itself, crafting delicate ecosystems in silent harmony. Could the boring billion be the Earth's way of catching its breath, a long meditation that nurtured the deep roots of complexity? Was this the eon where time itself seemed to fold, where biological memory was stored not in sudden events, but in steady, patient continuity? And so, as we listen to this prolonged pause, we prepare to enter the mysterious folds of mineral memory, where ancient crystals, zircons, pyrites, and uranonites hold the chemical secrets of Earth's early atmosphere and ocean chemistry. And yet, if silence can harbor such profound secrets, what else might be hidden in the waiting depths of stone? This era, often overlooked, holds lessons in patience and persistence. It was a time when life learned to sustain itself in balance, when ecosystems refined their metabolic exchanges, and when energy cascades were choreographed in a subtle dance beneath the waves. The microbial life thrived, invisible architects constructing the unseen scaffolding of future biodiversity. Imagine the oceans as vast humming networks where nutrient cycling became more efficient, where symbiosis deepened, and genetic innovation waited quietly below the radar of fossilization. Could this immense span of time have been a crucible, hardening the biological innovations that would burst forth in later eras? Could the seemingly slow pace have been life's necessary meditation, a geological deep breath holding infinite possibility? And within this stillness did planetary systems stabilize, the atmosphere, the oceans, and the land in delicate harmony, ready to bear the weight of future complexity? Could this balance of stasis and subtle change be the hidden rhythm of deep time, a slow pulse shaping the very contours of evolution? Entropy, in its patient work, was erasing old patterns even as it carved pathways for new ones. This paradoxical balance between loss and renewal, between silence and potential, echoes throughout the boring billion, a meditation in geological slow motion. So, as the Earth seemed still to us, the story was quietly unfolding, a foundation laid beneath the waves and stones, where complexity prepared to bloom. We turn now to explore this story embedded within the ancient minerals, the small crystal timekeepers that archive the chemistry of Earth's earliest moments. And yet, if the quietest parts of Earth's story cry out with such secret songs, what else might be whispered beneath the patient stone? Could it be that in this long corridor of stillness, life was rehearsing its next great act, weaving threads of complexity unseen by early light or fossil imprint? The Proterozoic's patient breath, its slow unfolding of ecosystems and cooperation, forms the quiet prelude to the symphonies of life that would one day fill the Earth's waters and lands with vibrant movement and color. The Proterozoic's patient breath, its slow unfolding of ecosystems and cooperation, forms the quiet prelude to the symphonies of life that would one day fill the Earth's waters and lands with vibrant movement and color. Within this deep time, minerals like zircons, pyrites, and uraninites became the silent archivists of Earth's earliest stories, their crystal lattices preserving the delicate chemistry of ancient oceans and atmospheres. These tiny timekeepers encode chemical signatures etched in their crystalline frameworks, revealing secrets of a planet still young and learning to sustain complexity. Imagine holding a zircon, a grain of sand older than most continents, carrying in its atomic structure the memory of long-gone seas, of primordial waters, rich with minerals and organic molecules shaping the earliest landscapes. These minerals are archives not only of age but of environment, capturing isotopic ratios and elemental traces that paint a picture of Earth's delicate balance before life's great flourish. Could it be that these mineral memories act like geological diaries, chronicling the rise and fall of atmospheric gases, the oxygenation of the seas, and the pulses of volcanic activity that shaped the chemical world where life emerged? Each crystal, a tiny recorder of planetary temperament, whispers the story of heat, pressure, and chemical dance that forged the conditions for biology. These minerals also tell a story of entropy, of change slow and relentless, where crystalline decay and transformation mirror the broader cycles of birth, death, and renewal in the biosphere. They remind us that even stone is not static, but part of the eternal flow of transformation. What if within these sparkling grains of ancient rock, the very first breath of Earth's atmosphere is recorded? Could they reveal moments when oxygen first kissed the skies or volcanic plumes darkened horizons, events that shaped the trajectory of life beneath? Holding these crystals, we reach across eons, touching the intimate chemistry that shaped every living thing's ancestor. Their stories merge with fossil whispers and isotopic clues, weaving a complex biography of Earth's early years. And as we prepare to move from the crystalline care of minerals to the dynamic traces of behavior etched in sediments, where the shadows of the first movement and intention linger, we might wonder if these stones remember so much, what memories lie still hidden, waiting patiently beneath the layers of time. Beneath the microscope, these tiny crystals shimmer with evidence of ancient processes, traces of isotopes altered by primordial waters, fingerprints of volcanic gases, and whispers of atmospheric change. They are geological palimpsests, rewritten and reshaped, yet always retaining fragments of the past. Could it be that the slow growth of these simple minerals mirrors the slow unfolding of life itself? Balanced delicately between dissolution and formation, these minerals encode lessons in patience and resilience. Just as life endures by adapting and persisting, the crystals endure by transforming and renewing. In these minerals we find a poetic metaphor for memory, not static but fluid, layered and evolving with time. They recall moments where Earth held its breath under changing skies, where chemistry and biology entwined in a dance that would shape future possibilities. Each grain holds a narrative of change and stability, where the interplay of heat, pressure, and chemistry painted a portrait of a planet weaving the first threads of complexity. These mineral keepers stand as silent witnesses to Earth's deep history, their crystalline hearts pulsing with the stories of origin. And so, from the crystalline archives, we turn our thoughts to the first signs of life's agency, the traces left not by molecules or minerals, but by creatures moving with intention, the earliest footprints of life's complex dance on a changing world. And yet, if crystals can hold such profound memory, how might we learn to read the subtle stories etched in sedimentary shadows? We stand at the doorstep of fossils yet unseen, of behaviors long vanished, yet traced faintly in stone. And yet, if crystals can hold such profound memory, how might we learn to read the subtle stories etched in sedimentary shadows? Across the globe, a profound silence stretches, a gap in the rock record known as the Great Unconformity, where hundreds of millions of years of Proterozoic history were eroded away, lost to time's patient hand. This geological void is more than absence. It is a profound erasure, a quiet reminder that Earth's memory is imperfect and fragmented. Imagine standing at the edge of this vast unconformity, the bare rock face stretching out like an ancient wall of forgotten history. Beneath it lies a chapter of deep time vanished, its stories whispered only through traces and hints easily missed. What worlds were lost in this silence? What ecosystems, organisms, and geological events did time's relentless whisper erase without trace? Could this great gap be Earth's own self-erasure, a reset button pressed slowly through relentless erosion and tectonic upheaval? Or might it be the soil where new stories could take root, the space cleared for life's next great flourish? Entropy, ever the quiet artist, works steadily here, wearing away mountains, smoothing surfaces, turning solid histories into dust and memory into silence. In this patient erasure, we glimpse the paradox of geological time, destruction as both end and beginning, loss as prelude to renewal. This great unconformity challenges our desire for continuous narrative, reminding us that history is always incomplete, a fractured mosaic of presence and absence. What if the most important stories are those lost, waiting like dreams beneath the vanished strata? Could the silence between rocks speak as loudly as the rocks themselves? As we explore this vast erasure, we prepare to delve back into the chemistry of the Earth's oldest oceans, tracing the delicate balance of phosphorus, the element at the heart of life's memory and energy that courses through this vanished world. And yet, if whole chapters can disappear beneath the surface of stone, what else might have slipped softly into oblivion? This great gap in the Earth's memory is a silent testament to the relentless forces of erosion and change, a reminder that even stone yields to time's steady hand. The chasms and breaks where rock once lay are like breaths held and released across eons, spaces where entire landscapes have vanished without a trace. We can only imagine the forms of life, the ecosystems and the climates lost beneath this veil of silence. Could it be that this self-erasure is a kind of planetary forgetting, a natural process of renewal and decay that wipes clean to make room for new stories? This fragile balance challenges our yearning for completeness, asking instead for wonder in the incomplete appreciation for the missing and unseen. As entropy reshapes the surface, the cycle of creation and destruction unfolds. Mountains peel away, seas reposition, sediments accumulate anew, each layer a new page over an old, hidden script. In this continuous overwriting, the Earth's history folds in on itself, a palimpsest of time and change. And yet within this great silence lies possibility. Beneath the unrevealed layers, life's earliest chapters may be preserved in fractured whispers, chemical residues, rare fossils, mineral clues, waiting patiently to be deciphered. Every fragment holds the promise of revelation, a key to understanding the ebbs and flows of ancient worlds. The great unconformity thus stands as both an ending and an invitation, a geological portal through which we glimpse the fragile, transient nature of memory and existence. It beckons us to wonder about the chapters yet to be read, the secrets buried deeply beneath our feet. As we move now from the vast erasure of forgotten time to the elemental stories preserved in phosphorus, the molecule of memory, energy, and life's blueprint, we carry with us the humble knowledge that forgetting is part of nature's quiet rhythm. And yet, if whole eons can vanish in the slow turning of stone, what whispers might still echo in the dust? Perhaps in the patient layers of dust and stone, fragments of wisdom linger, reminders that loss and forgetting are woven into the very fabric of the planet. This great unconformity reminds us that silence can be as powerful as sound, absence as evocative as presence. And yet, if whole eons can vanish in the slow turning of stone, what whispers might still echo in the dust? Buried deep within the ancient oceans of the Proterozoic, the story of phosphorus unfolds, a tale of an element essential to life's memory, energy, and identity. Phosphorus, a humble atom, carries the weight of evolution itself, linking the geological and the biological in an intimate dance. Imagine the silent journey of phosphorus atoms through the cycles of Earth's early environments, washing from continents into oceans, concentrating in sediments, and eventually folding into the molecular machinery of cells. This journey is a quiet narrative of exchange and transformation, a story of life's deepest connections written in chemical bonds. Could it be that phosphorus was more than a building block, but a kind of molecular memory keeper, a carrier of life's ancient history? Embedded in molecules like DNA and ATP, phosphorus is the thread that weaves heredity, energy transfer, and biological identity into the fabric of existence. In the Proterozoic seas, phosphorus cycling influenced the pace and pattern of life's growth, its availability, a subtle regulator of biological productivity. These chemical rhythms shaped the rise of cyanobacterial mats and the earliest eukaryotic cells, setting the stage for the increasing complexity we trace in the fossil record. Phosphorus's slow drift through geologic time reflects the fragile balance of life and environment, a testament to the delicate interdependence of chemistry and biology. Its story, etched in sediment layers and mineral deposits, is also a meditation on memory itself, on how the planet and its life preserve and lose the essence of being over immense spans of time. Could the molecular pathways of phosphorus trace a continuity between Earth's first living forms and every breath that fills lungs today? Might the energy transactions within cells, powered by phosphorus compounds, be echoes of the distant memories carried across billions of years? And yet, the availability of phosphorus was never constant, shaped by tectonics, climate, and ocean chemistry, forcing life to adapt in its dance with scarcity. Here in the folds of geochemical cycles we find life's resilience written in the language of atoms, of patient struggle and subtle transformation. Phosphorus may seem small, but it is mighty, a tiny architect of life's vast and intricate designs. Embedded within every cell, it powers the energy currency ATP, the backbone of DNA, and the pulse of biological memory. Its cycles breathe life into the microscopic world, driving growth, repair, and the unfolding of complexity over eons. Could it be that phosphorus links the memory of the Earth to the memory within every organism, a chemical thread weaving past and present? The slow movement of phosphorus atoms from rock to ocean to living cell and back again forms a rhythm that has shaped biological destiny. Yet this rhythm is never steady. Tectonic upheavals, ocean chemistry, and climatic shifts dictate the flux of phosphorus, setting limits and opening niches for life's ingenuity. In times of scarcity, life innovated. In times of plenty, life blossomed with diversity. This dance between availability and constraint is an ancient story of balance, resilience, and adaptation. It tells us that life's essence is not static but flowing, a continuous dialogue between geology and biology, energy and form. As these elemental cycles turn beneath the Earth's surface, they carve the conditions for evolution's grand designs, nurturing the earliest seeds of complexity hidden in Proterozoic waters. The tale of phosphorus is thus both elemental and profound, a reminder that life is knitted to Earth in the most fundamental ways, that memory, energy, and identity are entwined in the dance of atoms and time. From this elemental nexus, we now turn to the early signatures of life, not in molecules or minerals, but in movement. The faint traces of the first creatures marking their passage, shaping sediment, and claiming space in an ever-changing world. And yet, if atoms and dust carry such ancient wisdom, what revelations might the earliest footprints hold in? And yet, if atoms and dust carry such ancient wisdom, what revelations might the earliest footprints hold in their silent marks? The Proterozoic world was shaped not only by chemistry and cell, but by rhythms measured in light and tide as well. Imagine Earth's day, shorter then, spinning faster, no more than 18 hours from dawn to dusk, the moon hanging closer, its grasp stronger, pulling ancient tides higher and more urgent than today's gentle lapse. These monstrous tides swept across shallow seas, creating vast zones where life first learned to respond to the rhythm of celestial tides, to the pulse of a world shaped by gravitational dance. Tidal flats would have been places of endless motion and stillness intertwined, where shadows lengthened and receded with the steady drumbeat of the ocean. Could it be that the push and pull of tides played a silent role in evolution, nudging early organisms to sense, adapt, and eventually move with intention? The fossil record is sparse here, but where tidal deposits have been found, they hint at cycles of sedimentation and exposure, a geological heartbeat to which life attuned itself. Perhaps these tidal forces provided not only physical challenges, but also temporal patterns, early natural clocks etched in sediment, their rhythms recorded in patterns of erosion and accumulation. Life, silent and patient, might have listened closely to these rhythms, learning to measure time not just in days or seasons, but in the ebb and flow of water's ancient breath. Could these primeval tides be Earth's first teachers of time, shaping how life perceives passage and change? Might the rise and fall of tides echo still in the biochemical rhythms that govern life cycles today, from the beating of cells to the cycles of consciousness? And yet, the ocean's weight pressed down relentlessly on the planet's crust, the slow but steady force of water recycling rock through subduction, a process unseen but fundamental. Oceanic plates, laden with sediments, slid beneath the continents, bearing the silent weight of deep time and renewal. Is it possible that this constant interplay of ocean crust and life guided the evolution of Earth's deep memory, the linkages between geology and biology that persist beneath our feet and within our cells today? Under these ever-changing tides, early life formed fragile communities, learning to endure exposure and submersion, dryness and flood, the great rhythm of coming and going. Perhaps this cycle framed the waking and sleeping of ancient microbial mats, the first metronome for life's pulse. With each tidal surge, nutrients and minerals danced through the waters, whispering secrets of sustenance and survival. Could it be that these tidal patterns shaped not only physical life, but also the ancient perception of time itself? That organisms first learned to mark existence by the rise and fall of oceans, their internal clocks echoing the grand celestial dance above. The memory of these rhythms might still resonate deep within life's molecular machinery, a timeless wave guiding cycles from the smallest cell to the grandest organism. Meanwhile, the grinding of ocean plates beneath continents told another silent story of subduction zones where oceanic crust sank into molten depths, recycling minerals and isotopes back into the Earth's core. This endless lithospheric motion reshapes continents, fuels volcanic breath, and intertwines with the cycles of life in ways we continue to uncover. Could this geological rhythm be the Earth's own memory at work? A slow dance where erosion and creation maintain the fragile balance of habitability? The silent subduction zones, invisible yet profound, bear witness to this ceaseless renewal. We turn now towards the sulfur cycle, where isotopic markers reveal the shifting chemistry of ancient oceans and atmospheres. Sulfur's chemical story carries hints of microbial metabolisms long vanished, the first whispers of ecological complexity in a world yet to fully reveal itself. And yet, if tides can pulse through time and chemistry can sing of ancient life, what other hidden symphonies might be uncovered in the ocean's deep memory? Beneath layers of sediment, sulfur cycled through ancient waters, tracing the delicate balance of oxidation and reduction, the first breaths of a world learning to respire in chemical rhythm. Sulfur isotopes remain as faint melodies in ancient rocks, telling of shifts in microbial activity and the dance of atmospheres during the Proterozoic's hush. Imagine the black depths of primordial seas, where sulfur metabolizing microbes choreographed unseen chemical dances, weaving new energy from sulfur's restless interplay. As ages slipped by, these microbial processes left their whispers in the isotopic record, subtle, persistent signatures etched into the silent patience of stone. Could these chemical songs be the earliest verses of ecology, primal choruses, to which all subsequent life would one day sing. The sulfur cycle's quiet rhythms echo through buried oceans, suggesting a deep and mysterious choreography in which geosphere and biosphere, chemistry and life, entwined and evolved together. What if this invisible sulfur dance was the precursor to all future complexity, the first framework for energy's slow escalation upon which later metabolisms would be built? Each turn of the sulfur cycle carried not only atoms but emerging possibilities, chemical habitats shaped by microbial innovation and planetary flux. And yet the story of sulfur is one of balance, a perpetual tightrope between toxicity and nourishment, between stagnation and spurts of change. Variations in sulfur chemistry signaled not only changes in oxygen but eruptions and the deep ocean's shifting breath, every swing a note in Earth's slow atmospheric aria. Could the sulfur cycle itself be a kind of planetary memory, faithfully recording resilience through shifting ages? A song of survival echoing still in today's coral reef swamps and salt flats. It is a cycle, ancient yet ongoing, a rhythm that cradled life's first complex attempts at endurance, a song that continues, softened by distance in modern seas. Beneath the surface of those ancient seas, sulfur-driven dances built fragile webs of energy that sustained entire microbial realms, inaugurating pathways that would ripple and multiply through all of biological history. Each isotopic signal archived in stone tells of whispers, fluctuating oxygen, volcanic breath, and the silent verdicts of microbial communities facing an ever-changing world. These clandestine cycles remind us that Earth and life are not separate but bound, cosmos and organism, choreographing each other across deep time. And so, as we listen to sulfur's voice, we float toward the first visible markings of purpose, the earliest trace fossils, burrows and scribbles etched in the mud, held tightly in time, silent but not without intention. And yet, if the chemistry of rocks still sings of ancient living, what might these earliest trails reveal about the dawn of true intent, a universe on the cusp of knowing itself through motion? And yet, if the chemistry of rock still sings of ancient living, what might these earliest trails reveal about the dawn of true intent? A universe on the cusp of knowing itself through motion. Within the transforming sediments of the latest Proterozoic, faint traces of movement emerge, simple burrows and trails etched delicately into ancient mud, the first unmistakable signatures that life moved with purpose. These trace fossils, humble and quiet, whisper of organisms negotiating their environment, chasing food, avoiding danger in shadows long gone. Imagine these early creatures as tentative dancers in an ocean theater bathed in twilight, moving slowly and cautiously, leaving behind marks that seem almost accidental yet speak volumes of survival and interaction. What does it mean to move with intention in a world still framing the boundaries of life itself? These traces are more than impressions. They are echoes of agency, the first hints that life was learning to shape its narrative beyond mere existence. Could these earliest footprints be the silent echoes of sensory awakening, the beginnings of awareness itself? We watch through deep time as simple behaviors like burrowing in sediment evolve into the complex dances of predator and prey, the first drama of movement and response playing out on a stage crafted by evolving ecosystems. This chapter of life's story is one of emergence and trial, where organisms tested the waters of mobility and interaction, sketching the first strokes of a biological script still unfolding today. Movement inscribed in ancient mud offers a bridge across millions of years, connecting our own sense of self to the very first decisions of life to move, to act, to exist beyond stillness. What if these traces are not merely fossilized marks, but a form of memory, a record of the first choices made by living creatures? Could motion itself be the earliest form of self-expression, a precursor to the nervous systems and brains yet to come? These subtle marks prompt us to reconsider when consciousness began, not in abrupt grandeur, but as a murmur in the waves, as a shadow flickering across primordial seafloors. And yet, these marks are fragile and rare. surviving only where sediment and conditions were just right, leaving much to silence and mystery. They invite us to listen closely to the spaces between fossils, to the gaps in time and knowledge, knowing that life's earliest stories are woven of absence as much as presence. These earliest movements, so delicate and rare, mark a profound turning point where life becomes storyteller, etching its existence into the Earth's sedimentary page. Each burrow, every zig and curl, carries a whisper of interaction, a choreography born of need and possibility. These were the first audiences to their own performances, sensing, responding, learning, probing the ever-shifting theatre beneath the waves. If thus, could it be that through these faint traces, life was tracing outlines of selfhood, rudimentary awareness slowly flickering into being? These simple acts of motion became the first language of existence, an emergent dialogue with the environment that would eventually blossom into cognition and intent. As the ocean floors received these imprints, their quiet persistence reveals the delicate balance between action and stillness, presence and absence, survival and extinction. Perhaps these trace fossils are not just historical artifacts, but living echoes of the first rhythms of consciousness, waxing and waning through deep time. And as complexity evolved, this language of movement deepened, the dance of predator and prey, the silent signals of engagement spiraled into intricacy, scripting the beginnings of behavior, memory, and identity. We stand on the threshold of these ancient motions, feeling their pulse in the continuity that connects them to every step and gesture of life today. Yet the record is fragmentary, incomplete. Much has vanished into the void of geological and biological erasure. This invites a meditation on the elusive nature of memory itself, how much of life's earliest stories have been lost, how much remains hidden in the spaces between rocks and fossils. In contemplating these earliest signs of life's intention, we prepare then to step back, to embrace the vastness of entropy, decay, and renewal that cycles ceaselessly through Earth's deep history. And yet, if the faintest footprints hint at consciousness's dawn, what might the infinite folds of birth and decay still conceal beneath time's vast, unfolding tapestry? And yet, if the faintest footprints hint at consciousness's dawn, what might the infinite folds of birth and decay still conceal beneath time's vast unfolding tapestry? As the Proterozoic gently yields to the Cambrian, the Earth has become something fundamentally new, oxygenated and poised on the brink of visible, complex life. But this transformation was not rushed, nor sudden. It was forged patiently through 2 billion years of quiet, slow preparation, where chemistry, biology, and geology intertwined to create a world ready to bloom. Imagine standing at the edge of this great transition, a time when life began to multiply in form and function, when the invisible made way for the visible, when simple cells gave way to creatures that took up space, moved with intent, and interacted in complex ecosystems. The Proterozoic was not an empty time, but a vast incubation, a slow recipe stirred by Earth's rhythms, chaos and calm alike. Could it be that the eon itself is a message, a whispered instruction from deep time, teaching us about patience, resilience, and the slow weaving of possibility? Here, in the vastness of time, we see that complexity is less a sudden burst than a slow crescendo, a layering of subtle changes that blink into being over epochs. These 2 billion years were a crucible of forgotten wisdom, where life learned to carry its own memory, crafting cellular architectures, biochemical cycles, and ecological balances that would undergird the entire future of life on Earth. It was a world of silences and soft transformations, a world where even the smallest molecule mattered as a bearer of history and hope. This long preparation, measured not in years but in the slow ticking of isotopes and the layering of sediment, holds lessons not only about life's past but about our own place in the vast, quiet universe. It reminds us that beneath the noise of voices and stories lies the slower pulse of existence, the patient unfolding of life's great mystery. Time here feels both immense and intimate. The slow crescendo at the end of deep time's longest eon. Life's quiet preparations finally bloom into forms that took up space and time in ways never seen before. The invisible world gifted color and motion, body and behavior, setting the stage for the spectacular pageant called the Cambrian explosion. Could the Proterozoic be seen as the patient breath before the Great Awakening, the steady hand guiding fragile life past thresholds of complexity slowly and carefully? Every sediment laid, every molecule cycled, every subtle genomic shift was a stitch in the grand tapestry of becoming, an act of courage written in stone and cell. We might imagine that the lessons of deep time are lessons in waiting, the unfolding of complexity as a gradual symphony, where patience becomes as vital as passion. There is beauty in this slow artistry, a profound wisdom in rhythms that outlast days and years, weaving the fabric of all life that followed. This 2 billion-year story reminds us that existence is less about sudden transformation and more about patient persistence, that the greatest changes unfold quietly beneath the surface in the slow weaving of life's intricate designs. And so, as the Proterozoic draws to close, we are invited to listen to its silent symphony, to hear in the rustling of ancient sediments and the whispers of forgotten molecules the enduring tales of a world patiently crafting its future. As we prepare to cross this threshold, moving from the whispers of the past into the blooming of visible life, we carry with us the echo of those silent years, the patient music of a planet, learning how to sustain complexity. And yet, if the vast quiet prepared so much, what remains still hidden in the shadows of Earth's deepest memory? And yet, if the vast quiet prepared so much, what remains still hidden in the shadows of Earth's deepest memory? Within the laboratory's soft glow, scientists peer into the atomic past, reading isotopic signatures in zircon crystals, tiny time capsules preserving the truths of Earth's earliest days. These minerals hold the geochemical whispers of molten seas, nascent continents, and shifting atmospheres, all encoded within the subtle variations of isotopes. Imagine these ancient zircons as tiny clocks, their atomic structures recording the rise and fall of oxygen, shifts in temperature, and the chemistry of primordial waters. Each isotope ratio is a verse in Earth's chemical poetry, telling stories of fiery eruptions, oceanic cycles, and the slow forging of a habitable world. Could it be that these crystals carry more than data, that they hold memories of the planet's formative moments, moments when life's ingredients mixed in just the right way? Their luminous clarity, forged under immense pressure, conceals secrets of planetary alchemy and the slow unfolding of conditions necessary for biology. These mineral diaries reveal a planet in transition, not just changing but actively becoming. Heat, pressure, and chemistry interlace in intricate patterns, mapping the journey from a molten past to an oxygenated present. What if the isotopic signals within these crystals form a hidden narrative, a geological memory that captures not just Earth's physical evolution, but also the burgeoning potentials of life itself? And yet, even these timekeepers whisper only parts of the story, their crystalline voices overlapping and twisting with those of other minerals, sediments, and fossils, stitching together a tapestry vast enough to exceed human grasp. Holding a zircon is like grasping a fragment of deep time, a mineral that has witnessed continents birth and perish, oceans deepen and shallows shift, each heartbeat echoing through billions of years. Within these timeless crystals, each atom seems to hold a story of Earth's earliest dawns, a delicate record of changing skies, volcanic breath, and the slow cooling of a young planet. The isotopic ratios serve as coded messages across billions of years, unveiling the dance of oxygen's arrival, the shifting of oceans, and subtle links to the rise of life itself. Could it be that these mineral storytellers hold keys not only to Earth's past, but to the very conditions that allowed biology its first tentative grips? As we peer deeper into these crystalline time capsules, we glimpse planetary transitions marked not by abrupt upheaval but by graceful, measured shifts, like the slow turning of celestial clocks. Each zircon glimmers as a fragment of vast temporal symphony, a note in the ancient melody that underlies the living world. Holding a single grain, we connect to an Earth still forming its skin, forging the stage for life's future dramas. These minerals are the silent custodians of a deep geological memory, cradling the whispers of ancient seas and atmospheres in their crystalline embrace. The story they tell is one of patience and intricate beauty, a gradual awakening of possibility written in chemical gradients and isotopic shifts. And so, as we translate the language of these terrestrial jewels, we prepare to listen next to the first letters of life's visible narrative, the trace fossils where movement, purpose, and agency first etched life's intent in the fabric of stone. Might these trace fossils, faint and fragile, trace the beginnings of perception and choice? Could the earliest marks in sediment be seen not just as evidence of life, but as the first whispers of intention, a narrative of existence taking its first conscious breaths? And as the earth turns through its slow arc of deep time, what awaits discovery in the silent stories still buried beneath layers yet undisturbed? And as the earth turns through its slow arc of deep time, what awaits discovery in the silent stories still buried beneath layers yet undisturbed? The Proterozoic Eon, often described as a time of quiet and stasis, reveals another truth upon closer exploration, an evolution measured not in cataclysms, but in subtle, patient turns of biological and geological rhythms. This was an era where life changed, not abruptly but through gentle reshaping, a transformation too slow to shatter, but too persistent to ignore. Imagine a world where extinction events were whispers, not storms, where life's tapestry frayed and repaired in almost imperceptible waves. The fossil record here is sparse, and the gaps between appear vast, filled with silences that echo the steady tick of the Earth's slow pulse. Yet within these quiet spaces, life continued, evolving toward complexity with a patient grace. Could it be that the boring billion wasn't boring at all, but a slow weaving of resilience, integration and preparation, a time when ecosystems found balance and genetic experimentation deepened beneath seas that bore witness to the long patience of life? This chapter invites us to rethink what it means to evolve, less as sudden bursts of innovation, and more as the persistent flow of life learning to sustain itself amid entropy. This gentle evolution was marked by subtle shifts in chemistry and climate, slow drifts in ocean composition, and the steady turnover of habitats. Life here moved quietly, constrained but growing, its innovations invisible to all but the most careful discernment. Could it be that these long, slow rhythms hold secrets to life's endurance, a biological meditation on persistence and adaptability? Life learned not just to survive but to thrive in balance, crafting new forms and relationships that would lay the groundwork for the Renaissance to come. And yet, the very stillness of this era holds its own mysteries, moments lost to time, cycles erased by erosion, legacies carried only in chemical fingerprints. What if the greatest stories of life's resilience are not in sudden survival, but in persistent existence, stretching slow and deep across oceans and epochs? In this lingering quiet, ecosystems blossomed cautiously, evolving deeper connections beneath the surface. Life's web became intricately woven, a tapestry of mutual dependence and slow adaptation. The innovations here were small and often invisible, shifts in genetic codes, subtle biochemical interactions, slow enrichment of ecosystems in the shadows of ancient continents. Could this be the great groundwork, the patient drawing of nature's blueprint, where resilience was forged not by dramatic survival, but by ceaseless persistence? This long interval teaches us to view evolution not as a race but as a dance, one in which the steps are measured, meticulous, and often repeated. Each succession of species folding into the next, each adaptive innovation built on the quiet learnings of the past, reveals nature's patience as its greatest strength. Though not marked by mass extinctions, this time carried its own rhythms, cycles of growth and decline, ebb and flow of habitats, and biological complexity, each nuanced change a pulse of life's enduring beat. Its subtlety asks us to attune our senses to the softer sounds of change, the unspoken moments where life persists and flourishes amidst challenge. And so we dwell in this long, gentle interval, a bridge between primordial chaos and the explosion of visible life. Within its folds lie stories untold, whatever silent dramas played out beneath shifting seas and skies. This is the still heart of evolution, where the smallest acts of survival ripple outward into the grand narrative of life. As we listen to the whispers of this extended calm, our journey prepares to return again to the crystalline keepers of Earth's stories, where ancient minerals hold chemical memories of the Proterozoic's most intimate secrets. And yet, if the quietest moments in time speak so clearly, what messages linger in the crystalline depths, waiting for us to listen? And yet, if the quietest moments in time speak so clearly, what messages linger in the crystalline depths, waiting for us to listen? Before oxygen ruled the skies and seas, methane may have woven an ancient greenhouse around the Earth, a warm embrace beneath a dimmer sun. Methane, a potent gas, shaped climate cycles and painted the atmosphere with haze, its whispers carried on winds forgotten by time. Imagine early Earth wrapped in this thick, hazy mantle, where ultraviolet light filtered through amber skies to kiss ancient waters. Methane's presence may have softened the harshness of a young sun, keeping oceans from freezing even as the day spun faster. This greenhouse veil was no mere backdrop, but an active participant in life's earliest stages, a chemical shroud that regulated temperature, shaped weather, and influenced the very chemistry of survival. Could it be that methane cycles were among Earth's first climate conversations, a dialogue between geology and biology encoded in the atmosphere's shifting breath? These methane ebbs and flows, driven by microbial activity and volcanic release, may have created feedback loops, episodes of warmth punctuated by deep chill, the snowball Earth glaciations, only one extreme in a dance of climate extremes. What if this volatile gas acted as both cradle and catalyst, warming the planet enough for life to persist, while also challenging it to adapt? Methane's long shadow may reach into the patterns of isotope ratios we measure today, a hidden trace of Earth's primordial temperament. The methane story invites us to consider the resilience and fragility of early life, caught between chemical abundance and scarcity, warmth and freeze, evidence and loss. It is a testament to the delicate balance of planetary systems and the subtle ways life and environment entwine. This ancient methane blanket shaped more than temperature. It sculpted the cycles of life and death, new worlds within the haze of chemical interactions. Microbial mat communities, beneath the amber sky, responded to these waves of greenhouse warmth, adapting to shifts that molded ecosystems across eons. Methane's dance with sunlight and sulfur compounds created patterns both delicate and volatile as life persisted within this breathing shroud. Could it be that methane's presence carved a landscape of challenge and possibility that spurred metabolic innovation, driving life to harness energy in diverse ways? This volatile gas may have been as vital to life's early survival as oxygen would become later, a silent coordinator of chemistry and biology, holding the planet in balance between freeze and fire. The fluctuations of methane may have seeded the cycles of ancient ice ages, where the planet oscillated between snowball states and warmth, each swing shaping the course of evolution. Imagine the Earth cycling through these phases, its atmosphere a canvas of shifting hues, life responding in subtle evocations of persistence and change. What if these climate oscillations, wrought by methane's fragile sway, are etched not only in rocks, but in life's own genetic memory, a testament to the dance of environment and inheritance? Life, caught between abundance and scarcity, warmth and cold, fought entropy's pull in a delicate negotiation carried out in gene pools and microbial mats. The methane story challenges us to embrace the paradox of early Earth, the dance of resilience and fragility, of mystery hidden beneath layers of lost atmospheres. It reminds us that life's earliest chapters were written not only in rock and fossil, but in the invisible veil of gases that clothed the young planet. As the methane curtain gradually lifted, yielding to oxygen's clearer breath, Earth's crust revealed new textures, the red soils and iron-stained horizons that paint the face of Proterozoic landscapes. And so we turn from atmosphere to Earth, from gas to stone, pondering if the planet's breath shapes its body. And so we turn from atmosphere to Earth, from gas to stone, pondering if the planet's breath shapes its body. What stories might the colors of deep time unveil? Proterozoic rocks paint a landscape rich with hues, the green of ancient seafloor basalts, the red of oxidized iron formations, the black of carbon-rich shales, where microscopic life gathered and faded into stone. Each color is a stanza in the poem of Earth's early story, a palette that reveals not only chemistry but the silent dialogue between life and environment. Imagine these colors as echoes of ancient processes, where volcanic breath and ocean chemistry mingled to paint a living canvas. The vibrant reds speak of iron's slow oxidation, a signal of atmospheres changing under unseen microbial influence. Greens recall the deep ocean's basaltic crust, cool and vast, standing firm amid shifting seas. Blacks mark the sediments rich with organic carbon, a record of life's first abundant flourish and gradual decay. Could these hues be read as memories, a chromatic language inscribed by biological and geological hands? The tones and shades carry impressions not only of mineral content, but of the enduring push and pull between life's growth and entropy's decay. They whisper of oceans alive and dying, of atmospheres thick with change and hope, and yet, the color story is not simple. These hues layered and shifted, faded and re-emerged across eons, each stroke responding to shifts in climate, geography and life's evolving forms. This palette is a work in progress, the ongoing painting of a restless planet. We reach out, imagining the feel of these ancient rocks, the roughness of basalt floors, the dusty softness of red-bed deserts, the smooth resilience of carbon-rich shales. In their textures we sense the weight of deep time, the patient layering of chemical and biological histories intertwined. Could the colors beneath our feet be more than mineral signatures, but vibrant testimonies of ancient worlds, a chemical symphony echoing life's resilience and transformation? These painted stones invite us to look closely, to see how Earth's surface has been the canvas on which life's earliest dramas were rendered. These colors shift and blend, a palette vibrant with life's earliest struggles and triumphs. The green of basalt recalls oceanic resilience, supports and shelters ancestral microbes thriving in mineral-rich vents. The red beds bleed the stories of oxygen's steady rise, of iron rusting and landscapes transformed by invisible breath. The black shales whisper of death and renewal, the carbon remnants of countless microscopic lives, folded now into stone. Could this chromatic legacy be more than pigment, but a coded language of weather and life, climate and biology intertwined, a message waiting for eyes, patient enough to see beyond texture? These colors chart the silent passage of Earth's surface, becoming a partner in the drama of evolution. Amid shifting continents and oceans, this painted Earth tells of balance and upheaval, sketches the slow pulse of ecosystems breathing through deep epochs. Each hue layers time upon time, a slow sedimentation of geochemical and biological rhythms, a testament to the intimate tie between Earth's skin and its living stories. As we reach toward this chromatic memory, we touch the brushstrokes of countless forgotten ages and fragile balances, moments of stasis and flux, construction and decay. This painted Earth invites our wonder, demanding patience to read its subtle codes. From these vibrant stones we move inward, drawn to the molecular dialogues that orchestrate life's complexity, the biochemical symphony playing through DNA, RNA and proteins, where every cell hums with the memory of its deep past. And yet, if the canvas of Earth can hold such profound stories, what other coded whispers might the smallest... And yet, if the canvas of Earth can hold such profound stories, what other coded whispers might the smallest molecules keep? Within the vast language of life, the molecular scripts encoded in DNA carry not only instructions but echoes of ancient algorithms, chains of chemistry that govern the flow of energy, the repair of cells, and the birth of new life. Imagine these molecular blueprints as living manuscripts, written in chemical letters and edited across countless generations, each mutation a new phrase, every replication a subtle change in tone. Life's algorithm is neither random nor rigid. It is a fluid composition shaped by environmental feedbacks, survival challenges, and the relentless drive to persist. Could it be that within these molecular codes lies a form of planetary memory, an ongoing record of adaptation and resilience inscribed in the genomes across deep time? These biological algorithms whisper secrets of evolution's long journey, from simple metabolic pathways to the dazzling complexity of multicellular life. Within the cell, the delicate dance of proteins and nucleic acids orchestrates metabolism and inheritance, a choreography that embodies both order and chaos, innovation and conservation. Here, life walks the edge of entropy, maintaining itself not by resisting change, but by channeling it into continual renewal. What if the algorithms we study in biology are reflections of broader universal principles, echoes of the same patterns that govern geological cycles, atmospheric shifts, and cosmic rhythms? This profound unity suggests that life's complexity arises not from isolated chance, but from the interplay of order and disorder throughout the natural world. As we read these molecular scripts, we glimpse not only the past but the potential futures, the unfolding possibilities encoded in strands of DNA. Life's code is a dynamic story, shaped by the tension between stability and change, constraint and creativity. In this intricate cellular dance, proteins fold and unfold, molecules bind and release in a timeless rhythm mediated by chemical signals and genetic instructions. This choreography is life's own symmetry, an eternal return as parts dissolve and reassemble, carrying forward the legacy of survival and adaptation. Could it be that these molecular symphonies echo the larger songs of the planet, reflecting principles that govern both the cosmic and the microscopic? The patterns of emergence and decay, resilience and transformation, gain and loss are written in genes as surely as in shifting rock strata. This unity of patterning reveals the profound connectivity between life's smallest scales and the vast rhythms of Earth's changing face. Each cell, each molecule participates in a web woven not only of biology, but also of geology, chemistry, and time. As we read these living manuscripts, we see evolution not as a simple sequence, but as an intricate code, dynamic, adaptable, endlessly creative. DNA's story is one of persistent innovation, drafting endless drafts across epochs, a fluid text authored by both chance and necessity. Within this molecular realm, the balance of order and chaos is not a struggle but a dance, one where entropy's push is met by life's counterbalance, a constant weaving of new forms from the threads of dissolution. And so, as we linger in this molecular world of quiet genius, the invisible music that animates all things, we prepare next to return to the shorelines of time, to the ancient oceans and the lingering shadows of the earliest ecological communities. And yet, if life's deepest codes compose such intricate symphonies, what new harmonies might the ecosystems yet reveal? Could it be that through understanding these molecular harmonies, we begin to perceive life not as isolated fragments, but as a continuum, one vast, flowing symphony of interaction and transformation? Each organism, each gene, each chemical reaction plays a part in this unending concerto. These codes are not static or fixed, but evolve, adapt, and resonate through time and space, carrying echoes of ancient beginnings and promises of future unfolding. The dance is ongoing, a music without end that invites us to listen closely, to feel the rhythm beneath the surface, and to wonder about the melodies yet unsung. And yet, if life's deepest codes compose such intricate symphonies, what new harmonies might the ecosystems yet reveal? Could it be that through understanding these molecular harmonies, we begin to perceive life not as isolated fragments, but as a continuum, one vast flowing symphony of interaction and transformation? Each organism, each gene, each chemical reaction plays a part in this unending concerto. These codes are not static or fixed, but evolve, adapt, and resonate through time and space, carrying echoes of ancient beginnings and promises of future unfolding. Now, imagine the Proterozoic oceans, their chemistry subtly different from today, a primordial broth of lower salinity and shifting mineral content, wrapping early life in a unique marine embrace. The very waters that cupped microbial mats and bathing early eukaryotes were alive with chemical potential, nurturing a delicate balance between mineral dissolution and biological uptake, between the vastness of oceanic cycles and the intimacy of cellular metabolism. Could it be that the ancient seas held keys to forms of life we have yet to understand? The dance of ions, the concentration of elements like calcium and magnesium, the ebb and flow of pH and nutrients, all crafted environments where life stretched its possibility in silent anticipation. These waters carried whispers of temperature, chemical gradients, and energy flux, not just passive backdrops but active partners in evolution's patient course. We might sense in these waters the ancient pulse of life's experimentation, where ocean chemistry set the stage for biological innovation. Vital elements cycled with ocean tides, where every molecule's journey spoke of balance and flux, of creation and dissolution. This aqueous world was a crucible and cradle, a space where microscopic pioneers built the foundations for multicellular complexity. And yet, beneath this apparent calm, the water itself bore traces of change, a proxy for past climates, ocean depths, and global shifts encoded in mineral sediments and isotope ratios. These oceanic signatures are time capsules, guiding us to the buried stories of how early life responded to environmental flux, to warming and cooling, acidification, and renewal. Could the ancient seas, in their quiet complexity, offer lessons for understanding resilience in the face of change? Perhaps the molecules dissolved in these waters still carry the memory of adaptation, waiting for us to decipher their silent language. Within these vast and shifting seas, life learned to read the subtle currents, to harvest energy from gradients of light, nutrients, and mineral balance. The ocean's chemistry was a dynamic canvas where early eukaryotes danced in invisible symbiosis with mineral clouds and currents, painting delicate patterns of survival and growth. Could these ancient waters have nurtured forms of life that remain faint, echoes buried deep in time? The ebb and flow of ocean chemistry carried more than molecules. It carried the rhythms of change, cycles of temperature, acidity, and nutrient pulses that both challenged and sustained life. Like a slow-flowing river of possibility, the Proterozoic seas beckoned life through shimmering doorways of opportunity and constraint. We sense in these waters a silent orchestra, where ions and organisms play in harmony, setting the tone for the future of biodiversity. This delicate balance, inscribed in isotopic signatures and mineral layers, offers a glimpse into a world both alien and intimately connected to our own. Could the lessons of these waters guide us in our own time? As currents shift and climates change, might the ancient interactions between life and ocean chemistry echo as warnings or wisdom from a distant past? The ocean's depths are but the first verse in Earth's grand story. The planet's magnetic field, imprinted in fiery lavas from the Proterozoic, adds another layer to the narrative. This dance between water and magnetism, life and rock, forms a quiet symphony, one we are only beginning to hear. This dance between water and magnetism, life and rock, forms a quiet symphony, one we are only beginning to hear. The Earth's magnetic field, recorded faithfully in Proterozoic lavas and sediments, tells a story of a planet whose protective shield wandered and flipped over deep time. This magnetic dance shaped the planet's exposure to cosmic radiation, creating invisible pulses that may have influenced the earliest forms of life. Imagine the magnetic poles wandering across an ancient sky, occasionally flipping their positions, allowing bursts of cosmic rays to penetrate the atmosphere, bathing the surface in waves of energetic particles. Could these cosmic influences have sparked mutations, driving evolutionary experimentations, shaping life's genetic mosaic with unseen hands? The magnetic field was both shield and gatekeeper, a fluctuating force whose intermittent weakening might have opened windows for transformation and adaptation. These magnetic whispers, preserved in iron-bearing minerals aligned in ancient rocks, serve as a record of Earth's magnetic moods and their possible biological impacts. Could it be that the interplay between magnetism and life is part of a larger conversation, where physical forces and biology intertwine in a dance far older than remembered? This dynamic field may have created selective pressures, influencing the timing and path of biological innovation on a planet still learning to balance order and chaos. As we trace the magnetic signals locked in stone, we consider the fragile protection offered to early life in a world vulnerable to cosmic storms. It is a story of resilience beneath a roaming shield, where life was shielded, exposed, and challenged in turn. Through the vastness of geological time, the magnetic field danced, a restless guardian whose wandering poles sketched invisible lines across ancient skies, shaping the conditions under which life evolved. Like a cosmic metronome, these fluctuations created windows where radiation could penetrate, sparking bursts of change at the very limits of life's resilience. Could these unseen flares be catalysts of mutation, subtle nudges that sculpted the diversity and complexity of biology in ways still hidden beneath the fossil record? The alignment of iron-rich minerals in ancient lava flows records this magnetism's whispers, cryptic messages embedded in stone, tracing the history of Earth's protective shield and its occasional failings. What might these magnetic flip-flops mean for the fragile organisms of Proterozoic seas, basking under variable bombardment of cosmic rays? Could it be that such cosmic interplay is woven into life's own memory, that planetary geomagnetic rhythms are imprinted in the genetic cycles of cells and microbial mats? This intimate dialogue of fields and life hints at a world where physical forces and biological evolution are inseparable partners in the dance of becoming. In the shadows of these ancient magnetic tales, life was both vulnerable and tenacious, shielded at times, exposed at others, adapting continually to the shifting cosmic weather. The story of survival here is not just one of biological innovation, but of synchronization with the universe's rhythms. As we feel the pulse of this magnetic history recorded in stone, we turn toward the solid foundations, those vast, unyielding continental cratons that have endured through geological tumult. These stable bedrocks hold archives of Earth's earliest memories, their ancient faces a testament to endurance amidst change. And yet, if the invisible forces shaping life have been as capricious as the wandering magnetic poles, what might the silent, steadfast stones reveal about a planet forever in motion yet anchored deep in time? And yet, if the invisible forces shaping life have been as capricious as the wandering magnetic poles, what might the silent, steadfast stones reveal about a planet forever in motion, yet anchored deep in time? The Proterozoic cratons, the ancient stable cores of continents, stand as enduring sentinels, solid and steady amidst the restless chaos of shifting plates and changing climates. These vast expanses of rock have witnessed epochs unfold and erase, carrying the weight of deep time in their silent strength. Imagine tracing your fingers over these rudimentary stones, their surfaces coarse and cold, etched with the marks of ancient processes that shaped their form, folds, faults, and mineral veins that tell stories not just of geology but of life itself. These cratons are archives, geological memory banks that hold secrets to the planet's earliest chapters, places where stability allowed life to root and flourish. Could it be that beneath their seemingly unchanging facades lie dynamic stories of transformation, where mineralogical shifts mirrored the rise and fall of early ecosystems? As tectonic forces pressed and pulled these formations into place, the interplay of erosion and renewal crafted habitats and conditions ripe for biological innovation. These steadfast stones tell of patience, of time measured not in human lifetimes, but in the slow accumulation of sediment, the gradual cooling of magma, the relentless flow of water shaping and reshaping the crust. Within their ancient walls, the beginnings of continental life took hold, roots burrowed deep, and the first complex ecosystems began to weave their silent webs. But their stability belies a deeper truth. The cratons are not mere monuments frozen in time, but living parts of a planet breathing through cycles of creation and decay, birth and destruction. These ancient rocks, folded and fractured, harbour the memory of Earth's long journey, a testament to endurance through constant change. What if these cratons hold more than rock and mineral, but the echoes of ancient life's resilience, a stone-bound consciousness reflecting the pulse of a world still alive beneath our feet? As we caress these ancient stones, we can sense the slow heartbeat of Earth, steady, enduring, pulsing through the vast expanse of time. And yet, if the most steadfast stones bear such living memory, what other rhythms might the planet hold, hidden deep and waiting to be heard? Beneath their unyielding exterior, these cretins cradle stories of fire and water, ice and wind, forces weaving narratives of endurance and change. Their ancient minerals sparkle with chemical tales of oceans long vanished and atmospheres transformed, marking the slow evolution of a planet nurturing life. Could it be that these stones don't simply resist time but embody its very flow, their mineral bonds echoing the rhythms of Earth's breath? The crevices and faults carved slowly across these surfaces might be page-turners in a saga of survival, adaptation and renewal. Imagine the life these stable lands have sheltered, from the first root-like organisms anchoring into soil to the ancestors of life's vast forest of forms. These stones provided refuge amid the planet's turmoil, a steadfast pause where biology could deepen its roots. Their patient permanence offers a unique lens into the dance between stability and flux, a paradox at the heart of Earth's history. While tectonic plates drifted restlessly above, these cretonic cores held firm, anchoring continents, shaping climates and guiding the flow of life over unimaginable spans. Could the enduring cretons be seen as the planet's slow heartbeat, a pulse that has sustained rhythms of life and geology alike over billions of years? Within their depths lies a silent narrative, a resonance of resilience etched in rock, mineral, and memory. And so, as we run our hands across these ancient surfaces, feeling the cool, rough textures of time itself, we prepare to turn from the patience of stone to the immediacy of a final quiet moment, the last morning of the Proterozoic. And yet, if cretons embody time's steadfastness, what might the fleeting dawns of ancient eons whisper in the sky's fading light? And yet, if cretons embody time's steadfastness, what might the fleeting dawns of ancient eons whisper in the sky's fading light? As the Proterozoic drew to its close, the Earth had become a fundamentally different planet, one oxygenated, complex, and ready for a new chapter. Yet the world still moved at geological pace, unaware that biology was about to accelerate into forms and behaviors that would transform the meaning of being alive. Imagine the very first dawn of this new era, the horizon glowing faintly with the light of nascent ecosystems pressing into 3 dimensions, where microbes gave rise to animals and plants that claimed space and moved with intention. This moment was both fragile and monumental, the quiet awakening after a long prologue of chemical and cellular crafting. Could it be that these early mornings hold echoes that pulse still within us, in the rhythms of our cells and the cycles of our breath? That in every sunrise life remembers its slow, patient preparation across deep time? We stand momentarily on the edge of something immense, a threshold where silence blooms into the symphonies of flesh and movement, shadow and light. This transition from the unseen to the visible is etched not only in rocks and fossils, but in the deep architectures of life's complexity. Yet the pace is unhurried. Time in this era elapses like the measured note of a distant bell, its resonance fading slowly across oceans and continents. We learn that transformation is not always sudden but often a gentle crescendo, a layering of countless small innovations creating the foundation for life's vast diversity. In this moment of dawn, the Earth offers us a profound meditation on patience, persistence, and the unseen forces that guide change. It suggests that complexity arises not from chaos alone, but from the steady weave of interaction, adaptation, and memory. This threshold, a patient unfolding, bridges a world of molecular whispers and microbial mats to the dazzling expanse of visible life. The slow layering of time that preceded this moment was not empty silence, but a primordial score rehearsed by chemistry and chance, patience and pressure. Could it be the dawn carries echoes of that deep preparation, subtle cellular rhythms encoded in DNA, biochemical legacies carried through generations, silent lessons writ large in the evolutionary record? We are but footsteps following a path traced by ancient life, a narrative of persistent patience and quiet unfolding. As we stand on the cusp of this new era, we sense the slow breath of the planet, measured not in years, but in the heartbeat of deep time. This is the sound of life learning to rise, to diversify, to reach out into space and time, in forms both strange and familiar. The Proterozoic, in its vastness, is a meditation on endurance, the power of persistence over sudden change, the beauty of slow, cumulative transformation. It is a chapter of beginnings, not in rupture but in rhythm, a softly glowing ember in the dark expanse of history. As the first dawn breaks, we are invited to listen for the quiet signals that precede the flares, the moments when life prepares to rewrite the narrative, to step into the light with forms visible to eyes now open wide. And yet, if complexity unfolded so gently, what other wonders might we uncover in the slow currents of time, still flowing beneath the surface of our understanding? Could it be that the soft unfoldings of the Proterozoic hold more mysteries than the loudest moments of history, secrets written not in sudden eruptions but in the gentle weaving of time? This persistent, quiet symphony beckons us to listen deeply, to attend to the subtle shifts, and to embrace the beauty of existence reclaimed through slow, deliberate transformation. The dawn of visible life is but one note in the vast concerto. The dawn of visible life is but one note in the vast concerto of Earth's unfolding story, a delicate phrase suspended between epochs. As the Proterozoic fades into the Cambrian, the planet's canvas becomes richer, more textured, alive with the first brushstrokes of complexity we can see and feel. Imagine this moment as the gentle lifting of a veil, revealing life's burgeoning exuberance, sponges, jellyfish, and the ancestors of all animals moving across a stage set by eons of quiet preparation. The once invisible becomes visible, forms emerging from mud and water, casting shadows in the pale light of a world awakening. This awakening is the crescendo of a symphony composed over billions of years, an explosion not of chaos but of deep preparation. Sponges filter ocean waters, jellyfish pulse with fluid grace, and primitive arthropods scuttle along the seabed, their movements a dance choreographed in the shadows of an ancient past. Each organism carries within it the silent memory of processes that shaped its precursors, molecular whispers, genetic dances, environmental rhythms that have persisted through deep time. Their emergence invites a contemplation of continuity, of life's slow progress toward complexity built on the foundation of its earliest experiments. Could it be that this awakening carries the resonance of all that came before, that the faint rhythms of Proterozoic life pulse on within the embryonic hearts of Cambrian creatures? Each new body, each movement, each interaction echoes patient biochemical dances, the silent scripts of deep time influencing present form and function. We stand on the threshold of wonder, witnessing the crescendo of life's first great symphony, an unfolding complexity shaped by subtle forces as much as grand gestures. The Earth's deep past hums beneath our feet, a soft vibration that carries the weight of forgotten epochs, of vanished seas and lost lives. In this final flourish, we are invited to listen to the mystery held in fossils, to the whispers of sediment and stone, and to the quiet memory encoded in every living cell. Could it be that the Cambrian explosion was less an abrupt beginning than the unveiling of patterns long in formation? A visible release of energy and diversity nurtured in the silent depths of the Proterozoic. This unfolding tapestry is a testament to subtle forces and patient transformations, where every shard of evidence reveals a planet ready to bloom in color and motion. The Proterozoic teaches us that even in silence and patience, profound transformation is always possible. Could it be that the story of life is less a clear beginning and more a gentle symphony, where the soft notes of early biology weave quietly into the grander melody of diversity and adaptation? This unfolding narrative urges us to listen closely to the spaces between fossils, to the quiet transmission of life's deepest secrets. As the Earth continues its slow turning, the dance between known and unknown persists, inviting us to explore the echoes of extinct worlds and hidden rhythms yet to be revealed. Each fossil, each shadow in stone, is a fragment of a larger story written in the language of life and death, preservation and loss. This story continues to unfold, echoing softly through the corridors of deep time, a tale both intimate and grand, inviting us to remember and reimagine the earliest dances of life on Earth. And yet, if the first visible life holds so many answers, what mysteries linger still in the spaces between, in the silent depths awaiting our gentle touch?